Welcome to BIBO Weekly, and of course, we have another great show for you today. Today, we're talking about, well, the relationship or broken relationship between police officers, law enforcement, and our youth and our citizens. Well, I have a very special lady here today, Regina Brent, that's doing her part to try to bridge that gap. I also want to bring you my sit down with Ambassador Suzan Johnson Cooke, also known as Ambassador Sujay, who served with the Clinton administration and Obama administration. And she's done a lot more. You're going to get a chance to meet her. All of that and more coming up today on BIBO Weekly.
It's my time to shine. My time to shine. I'm ready. Yes, I'm ready. It is time to redefine. I'm ready. Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready. I am.
Welcome back to BIBO Weekly, and today we are talking about the relationship between our law enforcement and our youth and other citizens in society. And as we all know, it's been a tough couple of years with so much going on and the discord between law enforcement and citizens. And we have a lady here today who has an organization that is aimed of bringing peace, harmony, and a better relationship between our law enforcement individuals and the rest of us. And she's here with me today, Ms. Regina Brent. Hey there, Regina.
Hi, Tracy. Nice to be here. Wonderful to see you again.
Good to see you. I don't get to see you enough.
I know.
And you're doing a great work out there, trying to foster a better relationship between police officers, those in law enforcement, and our youth and citizens, because lately it's been a tough couple of years.
Yes, it has. Unfortunately, it has. And while we think it's getting better, it is. However, the wheels of justice turn slow. I began Unity Partnership for the reason of the fact that globally, there was a great deal of unrest all across America when it came to Black and brown people.
Yeah.
I must let you know that Sandra Bland was a friend of mine.
Oh, no.
She was also a church member at DuPage AME Church in Lisle. She lived in Naperville. So we had great deals of affiliations with Sandra Bland, not knowing what actually happened, but all we know that Sandra left for a job. She was incarcerated for a traffic stop, and you know the rest.
Right.
And so during the procession of Sandra Bland's funeral, I saw a chief from Lisle who was in charge of the procession for the funeral services. And I could see the emotions on his face. His name was Dave Anderson, Chief Dave Anderson of Lisle Police Department. I thought we should have a conversation. That conversation led from one thing to another. We became the Diversity Institute as an organization back in that time, but knowing that hopefully someday God would bless us enough to want to expand our territory with this organization, we decided that this is just not about Black and brown people. This was about all races who have encountered some police misconduct in some way. And so we changed our name from the Diversity Institute to Unity Partnership.
I love it.
Because we want to unify across America for all parties concerned.
And could not have happened at a more timely time as this, right?
Exactly.
With all of the incidences, those that you mentioned, George Floyd, of course, unfortunately what happened to him and all the others. And that's on just the citizen side of things, right? We can also talk about our police officers and what they've gone through recently. We've had 2 female police officers that I can recollect and talk about, Officer Ella French here in the Chicagoland area and another young female officer in the New York area. Both lost their lives as well.
So when you look around and you see, previously that the history of this thing is about male cops being killed in the line of duty.
Right.
Now we're encountering, for some reason, there's an influx of female officers being killed in the line of duty. And yes, unfortunately, Ella French, 29 years old, lost her life.
The reason is also heart-wrenching because these were two very young men in their early 20s, two brothers that committed that particular crime. So now not only do we have a situation where there's discord between law enforcement and citizens, there's tension between law enforcement and youth, but we're losing young people on both sides. We're losing young officers and we're losing young people in general. So what you're doing with Unity Partnership is very needed right now, Regina. We commend you for the work. What are some of the things that you're currently doing to help with this broken relationship that we have right now with law enforcement?
Yes, I'm glad you asked me. That's a good question. So in the past 5 years, we have built a relationship and trust with the police officers, the chiefs of police throughout DuPage County. I would say it's across the state of Illinois. We took 7,000 pairs of gym shoes,
Right.
and we gave them to the schools and the police departments so that they would have a reason to come together, so that while you're asking the police to kneel, they could kneel down to see the looks in these children's eyes, to have that compassionate, because there's a heart behind that badge.
Right.
And we wanted to see the badge the heart instead of the uniform. But Tracy, I would have to say that it's getting old. It's
Yeah.
getting inundated with the killings that have not been able to be rectified simply because there is not a lot of obedience in the homes.
Right, and it starts in the home.
It starts in the homes,
Yes.
and the police officers have a job to do. They have a lot on their plate. They're human, they have families, they have children, and when they come out to do their jobs, they have mental health on their plate, they have drug addiction on their plate,
Right.
they have poverty on their plates.
Yeah.
But you also have to equip them with implicit bias trainings. You have to make
Exactly.
sure that they understand the culture of the Black and brown people.
Right.
Because if they don't, then there will not be any trust.
No.
And there cannot be any relationships because you don't understand me and I don't understand you.
Absolutely wonderful. Well, we're going to continue this much needed conversation, Regina. Everyone, we're going to continue this conversation because, as you can see, the work of Unity Partnership is very, very much needed in the day and age that we're in. We're going to be back with more right after this.
The Guild is a new one-stop shop for the conscious shopper looking for high-end fashion, children's wear, art, wellness, home and body products at affordable prices, with a focus on unique grab-and-go gifts, perfect for any occasion. Everything at the Guild is made with sustainable and fair trade practices. Located on the Southport Corridor in the heart of Chicago's Lakeview neighborhood, the Guild features a curated selection of trading partners from all over the world, making ethical shopping a new kind of retail experience. Visit the Guild in-store or online at www.theguild.global.
I'm a king of rock. King of rock. I won't stop rocking till I retire.
We're gonna be kings, T.
Now, if you watch the Stars Network, then you have seen all of the great shows out there by Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. I like to call it his universe over there on Stars. And guess what? There's a brand new show added to the universe of Stars of 50 Cent. Please join me in welcoming Randy Huggins, the showrunner for the brand new show BMF on Stars. Hey there, Randy. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great. And, it's early for us. I know. So I thank you so much for getting up and spending time with us here.
Oh, you're so very welcome. I'm very excited to be here.
So excited to have you. Now, BMF, Black Mafia Family. I want you to tell us all about this show that everybody should be watching.
Well, basically, BMF is a show that is loosely based on, the real life story of Demetrius and Terry Flannery. You know what I mean? Who were two of the biggest urban drug dealers to probably ever come out of Detroit, but ultimately were two of the biggest. They turned their organization into one of the biggest crime families in the history of the United States. But at its core, our show is really a family show about love, brotherhood, and kinship. And what was interesting, all those values that they learned in their family were things that they instilled in their street family once they went out into the street.
So now that you've set the stage for the show, and we're going to come back to talk about BMF, but let's talk a little bit about you, Randy. Who is Randy Huggins?
Randy Huggins is a native Detroiter, for one.
Yeah.
A HBCU grad, Grambling State University.
Awesome.
Second, a former 3rd and 5th grade teacher in the city of Detroit.
Wow.
And who is just trying to capitalize and make every opportunity that he has the best opportunity he can make it.
Well, sir, I think you've done a great job of that, and you're just being so humble because your resume is impressive. For those of you out there just meeting Randy, he is not new to writing for prominent TV shows. From what I understand, Randy, and please keep me honest, you were a writer and contributor to The Shield, which was a phenomenal show, award-winning show. You were a part of that. Criminal Minds were there, an integral part of that as well. And I can go on and on, but I think the point is that you are not new to being at the forefront of a potentially huge television show. So congrats to you, not only on what you've done, but what you're involved in right now. Big congrats to you, Randy. So I know you're trying to be humble, but I just wanted to brag on you for a few.
I appreciate you saying that.
BIBO Weekly, we talk to a lot of powerful women, women that are trailblazers, leaders, entrepreneurs. They're doing big things, and we have the opportunity to bring them or bring their stories to light. In BMF, in the BMF world, what prominent women or what women are showcased
100%.
in the show, or in the story, I should say, of the Flannery brothers? Do we see strong women being portrayed and represented on screen?
1,000%. The actor that we cast is Miss Nicole Brianna White.
Yes.
And when I say she is fantastic, first of all, she looks so close to Miss Lucille Flannery. You know what I mean?
And then you have Tasha Smith.
100% behind the camera.
Her, behind the camera. Yeah, so we have her, another powerhouse.
Probably one of the most interesting characters on the show is a character named Kato. And she is loosely based off of, like, they did have a female in their crew. You know what I mean? So the woman that plays Kato, her name is Adriana Alexis. And she is absolutely, I mean, like, baller in this. I mean, she delivers. When I say she delivers the goods, she delivers the good. She hits every element that the character needs. And shout out to my composer, another powerful woman that I think you guys have heard of, Michelle Indigacello.
Oh, wow. Well, Randy, I cannot thank you enough for spending time, quality time here with us, with me and all of us here at BIBO Weekly. Super excited to tune in. Everyone, if you're not excited by now to tune in to BMF, I don't know what more we can do. You absolutely need to go over to Stars. Make sure you tune in to BMF Season 1. They've already been renewed for Season 2. Randy, when does the show air for those who are watching that want to start watching this incredible show?
Sunday nights across all Stars platforms, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Well, I know I'm going to be tuned in, everybody, and I hope you all will be too. Thank you again, Randy, for spending this time with us. I truly enjoyed it and cannot wait to tune in to BMF.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a great wake up to my day, and I can't wait. I hope the rest of it is as great as this interview was. Thank you so much, Tracy.
Thank you, Randy. Everyone, we're going to be back with more BIBO Weekly coming.
Oh, you're mine now.
I'm going to find out everything that happened.
This is my better half, Kate.
Don Brewer.
Kate, you'll start as detective under Bowden.
Welcome to the dark side. Trust me, this one has put all the work in. 2 detectives under one roof, things could get messy.
Only if you let it.
We now have 2 boys dead within a 12-hour time span on the River Oaks Bridge.
About these tattoos.
What about these?
These tattoos are matching.
Conrad, let Detective Bowden do his job. You're off for the evening. We got this covered.
Why can't you find a hobby, Katie?
You know what? Gladly.
Katie, you're searching for evidence that doesn't exist.
There's a lot you don't know.
It's almost as if someone doesn't want me to become detective.
You think any one of them knows real secrets the other has?
It's not me.
But just because someone is kind-hearted, it doesn't mean that they're not capable of violence.
What we don't know can't hurt us. Or can it?
Today on BIBO Weekly, it is my pleasure, everyone, to bring to you a very powerful woman who has done so much to help us when it comes to religious freedom, something that we probably all don't think about enough or take for granted. In addition to that, she's an accomplished author, and she also served and worked alongside 2 presidential administrations. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Ambassador Dr. Suzan Johnson Cooke, also known as Ambassador Sujay. Hello and welcome to BIBO Weekly.
Thank you so much. I would say it takes a phenomenal woman to know a phenomenal woman.
Well,
So
I
thank you
appreciate that so much, especially coming from you. That's a huge compliment. Thank you so, so much. We're excited to have you here because, my gosh, your resume is just incredible. We will not have the time to do it justice here today, but I definitely want to introduce you to our audience because you have done some incredible things. First of all, you worked alongside President Bill Clinton and President Barack Obama during their administrations in one capacity as a policy advisor and in the second capacity as a ambassador for religious freedom, if I'm saying that correctly, Ambassador. Can you elaborate on both of those roles?
First of all, it was a high honor, to be an American and to really have the ear of a U.S. president.
Right.
So President Clinton was phenomenal. I worked with him on Domestic Policy Council, and I was his advisor. And I stayed on with him for 7 years, developing what was the first faith-based initiatives, and then it was on the President's Initiative of Race with Dr. John Hope Franklin, and I was a faith advisor to look at race in America, the very things we're facing now.
Exactly.
He had the vision for. And then, of course, to work for the first African-American president of the United States as a diplomat. I was nominated by Secretary Clinton and appointed by President Barack Obama. 199 countries in my portfolio, and I represented both the president and the secretary on international religious freedom issues all over the world. So it was phenomenal to be the person that they entrusted this opportunity to.
That is absolutely incredible. And we thank you so much for your service, for what you were able to bring to both administrations in order to push public policy as well as to push the agenda as it relates to our religious freedoms. Again, something that everyone, we probably don't think about enough. But I want to rewind a little bit, Ambassador, and I want to talk a little bit about your early life. You grew up in Bronx, New York. And
Harlem in the Bronx.
Yeah. And
Yes.
you had a very important godmother, I believe, if I'm stating this correctly. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, I was so honored to be adopted by the Honorable Coretta Scott King as my second mother. I was best friends with Yolanda, her eldest daughter, and we went all over this nation together doing good trouble, as John Lewis said. And Mrs. King, after my mother passed, said, you know, I will be your second mother.
Wow.
And until the day she passed, that was true. And I was able to officiate her funeral, which was such an honor to bring together all of the world's Congress and presidents. 4 living presidents came, and all of the people who wanted to express their love for her service to our country.
Incredible. And the story goes on and on. Again, I wish I had 2 hours to spend with you. But before we let you go, I definitely want to talk about the fact that you are also an author, and you have authored more than one book. Can you share with us those books and why we should get our hands on them?
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, they're faith-based books of encouragement, motivation, empowerment. And one of my tools is self-care and soul care. That's how we need to make it. If we're going to fight for the soul of America, if we're going to take care of ourselves, then we must put some time into self-care and soul care. So there's 16 books, but the latest 2 that are being released as we speak, Rhythms of Rest, 40 Devotions for Busy Women on Our Daily Bread Press. And my fabulous 5th chapter, It's My Turn Now, for the woman of faith who's 50 plus and who's not putting it down, but she's getting ready to get started again. So the seasoned woman. And so I hope that you'll get that. That's on Judson Press, and they'll be available as we speak.
Absolutely fantastic. I love it. My 5th chapter, Being Fabulous Over the Age of 50. For those ladies out there that are watching us that fit into that category, life is just beginning as far as I'm concerned. And of course, the work that you're putting into these books to give us that sense of comfort and peace and spiritual foundation. Cannot thank you enough, Ambassador, for all that you've done, all that you're continuing to do. And absolutely, everyone, make sure you get your hands on those books. We're going to make sure we provide that information for you here today. Ambassador Suzan, thank you so much for joining us here on BIBO Weekly. We truly appreciate you and all that you do.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Everyone, we're going to be back with more BIBO Weekly coming up next.
I joined as possible because of the collaborative benefits of joining a mastermind and how we help and develop each other's businesses.
The thing she showed me the most, not just why you want it, but like visualizing it.
I learned so much about financial goal setting and how to properly plan your vision.
And now I'm leaving with a whole new different concept.
Here, we were able to talk to each other about how to get over those hurdles, which was really nice.
We are back, and it is time for me to pass this beautiful, sparkly purple pillow because it's time for our guest to shine, Ms. Regina Brent. Regina, I'm going to pass you the sparkle and the shine. I want you to hold that because you deserve it. You deserve it.
Thank you.
And just quickly, tell us something we need to know about you and why you are just shining, which you are today.
Thank you. All I want you to know is that I'm blessed to do God's will. And I'm blessed to know a lady like you who have put so much energy in the community. And there are always other women very worthy to be recognized other than myself. So thank you for inviting me today, Tracy.
Oh, thank you,
And I will live up to the expectations that you have so awarded with me with that beautiful award
That's
that you gave me
right.
back in 2016.
2017, you were one of our BIBO award recipients, everyone. Another person I can brag on, and rightfully so, as you can see, rightfully so. And we want to make sure, I want to make sure that all of you out there, make sure you go over to unitypartnership.org. Make sure you go over to that website, get to know more about the work that Regina and her team are doing, because it's important for our communities. Okay, make sure you go there. Everyone, again, thank you for tuning in to BIBO Weekly this week. And as always, make sure you take care of yourself, you stay safe, most of all, stay blessed. We'll see you again soon. Thank you for joining us here today on BIBO Weekly. Now it's time to enjoy the musical talents of Hope and her single, Try Me.
Hold up, another smash on them. 550 in the lane, got a dash on them. Haters in the cut, watch me dab on them. They hope for the worst, seen hope on 10. I cut it, beat still running. Got eyes on the cake like my birthday's coming. Gotta stay fly, cause the boys still love it. Them girls gonna stare, but they ain't saying nothing.
You ain't gon' find nothing like this. I won't be bothered at all. I'm on a new level, I know this. They know I walk what I talk. They would lie